everyone, so welcome to today's video. Thanks so much for joining me. Today I wanted to do a makeup look that just makes me happy. Makeup that always lifts my spirits, makes me happier, puts the pep in my step, boosts my confidence. It's like putting my best face forward. And these are products that I absolutely love, brands that I truly love and use every single day. And I just wanted to sit down and do a look that I feel the most prettiest in. The look that makes me feel great. And why not share some great products with you and just kind of talk you through the products that I'm using, the routine, and do everything start to finish. Now, I do have a few things already done. I have my brows pretty much almost done, minus a few little tweaks here and there, and then the setting gel. I also have some lip balm to prep my lips and my skincare, my base skincare products. I will list and link them down below for you. But we are going to get started on the makeup look, and I'm going to talk you through my complexion. That's where we're going to start off with this look today. One of my favorite brands and products is from Charlotte Tilbury, the Hollywood Flawless Filter. I've talked about this brand. It's my favorite high-end brand. If I could only choose one brand to use for the rest of my life and nothing else, it would be Charlotte Tilbury. I just love everything about it. So I will be using quite a bit of Charlotte Tilbury products in this video because this would not be a true, authentic, make me feel good kind of makeup look if I didn't use products from my favorite brand, right? So I'm going to start off with a soft, gentle, sophisticated glow to the skin, and that's exactly what this does for me. There are many competitors out there who are doing their version of this, but for me, nothing comes quite close to the original. So I'm going to use this one today. I wear the shade 1 Fair. I'm going to start by using this product first as a primer step. I'm going to skip primer altogether. I've talked about the dry skin situation that I've had recently, and we are looking better. Every day I'm getting better with my skincare and the texture of my skin. This is one of the products that I featured in my last video where I talked about my skincare routine for dry skin because I don't know what was going on with my skin, if it was the heat inside the house, if it was skincare products that I mixed that didn't work out very well. Regardless, I had really dry skin where my makeup just looked really bad. And this was one of the products that I used in that last tutorial that really worked to give me a pretty glow. Do you see how just an instant boost that gave my complexion with very minimal product? And it doesn't look like a bunch of shimmer particles. There's no heavy glitter pieces. It truly is something that you can use just with nothing else. Like you see right now, you can mix it into your foundation. You can mix it into skincare. You can use it as a liquid highlighter. There's so much that you can do with this. So it's so versatile. It's a multitasker that I have to have in my collection. Just love that to pieces. My next complexion product it's gotta be the Estée Lauder Double. I'm pretty sure you guessed that this was coming next because I just love this foundation. I wear shade 1 and 0, which is porcelain. I absolutely love this foundation. It is a demi-matte foundation, but it still looks like skin. And since I don't have a pump on mine, I just put my finger and tip it over. And generally what I pull out of that first pump is enough, or that first tip over. It's not like the best way to be consistent, but I kind of figured it out after using this foundation since the summertime last year, almost daily, that's generally enough for me to get a nice even coverage. And I'm going in with my Hourglass Ambient Foundation brush. And I'm going to blend this right over that Hollywood Flawless Filter. Now I'm doing kind of like a rough blend in right now because one of the things that I like to do is go in with my beauty sponge. I love a good classic beauty blender that's been slightly dampened to push everything into the skin and make sure everything is really well blended. This brush doesn't leave a lot of streaks, but sometimes, depending on the formula, I will have a little bit of streaking, especially around the nose, but this sponge method takes care of that. It just looks like skin, and that's kind of the goal. That's what I feel prettiest in, is where my skin looks more even and perfected without feeling heavy, without looking like I'm wearing a lot of product. You can still see some little imperfections, like I said, and if that's the case, I can go with my brush and just kind of pinpoint and go over certain spots, go in with a little extra concealer if I wanted to, but I'm honestly just gonna leave it as is. As you see here, I'm really not gonna spend a lot of time trying to be meticulous about perfecting every little bit of my face. So I'm gonna move on to concealer. And I absolutely love my Natasha Denona High Glam. I wear shade P1. And I also love my Charlotte Tilbury Radiant Skin Concealer, and I wear the shade 2.5 Fair. So instead of just picking one, why don't we just mix the two? I'm going to do Natasha Denona P1 out here, and the Charlotte Radiant Concealer through here where I have the most darkness, where I want the most brightening effect. And I'm going to use my beauty sponge, and I'm going to blend the two together. So I get some brightening, and then I get some correcting from that peachy tone from Natasha. It's like the best of both worlds. And then, of course, this one from Charlotte Tilbury has a bit more hydrating effect, which is perfect. And I love how these two look on their own individually, but together, it's a beautiful combo. I'm going to set my under eye area with a little bit of my Huda Beauty Easy Bake Powder. I have the shade called Poundcake in this little mini travel size. This is such a good formula for setting your concealer, but also creating a very flawless look to the under eye area. It's like literally applying a filter to the under eye area, and I just absolutely love how this looks. So here is the one side with the concealers blended and also set with the Huda. And do you see it just kind of blurs and perfects the under eye area? I absolutely love it, but I also really like the ones from Charlotte Tilbury, the brightening powder and also the regular pressed powder. I have the little mini one here, but she does have a full size of it available. I like the mini to keep it in my little makeup bag that I keep upstairs in my bathroom, because that's a really great powder. And I wear the shade 1 Fair in that setting powder from Charlotte. The brightening one has that shimmery white pearl packaging, which I love, and I use that towards the end of my routine, which you will see later. One of my favorite products from Charlotte Tilbury that I noticed that came back in stock and was re-released again was the Glowgasm palette. So I wanted to use this because I did see it on the Sephora app. This has a bronzer, a highlighter, and 2 blushes. Very glowy, very luminous and dewy. Very on brand with the Charlotte Tilbury. It's very luminous and glowy, and it's part of the overall look, and that's what attracts me to this product. But I also like how easy this is to use, how many steps I can kind of take care of in one product. And with my skin being quite dry and the makeup just not looking the best, I mean, I'm trying to do the best that I can with the condition of my skin at the moment, but these powders work great when my skin is behaving and when it doesn't. When it doesn't want to get on board with things, I can always count on this formula to work. It blends in beautifully. I also really love the cream bronzer from Charlotte Tilbury. It's one of my favorite cream bronzers. But I'm going to use this palette today with the Sephora Pro 59 brush. It's actually a powder brush, but I love it for blending in my bronzer. So I'm going to start with the bronzer, the bottom, and I'm going to start warming up my complexion. You see, it's just easy. Love it. I think one of the things that we can associate the moment we hear Charlotte Tilbury is the Pillow Talk colors, right? The Pillow Talk range, lip liners, lipsticks, the mascara, the eyeshadows, and of course the blush. This is the Cheek to Chic in Pillow Talk. And I love this product. I think it's so pretty and so ethereal. The glow that you get from this is really soft and pretty. You can kind of aim your brush towards the outer ring to get more of the actual color. And then you can use the center for your highlighter, or you can swirl and use them both and get that sort of glow and that highlighter optional skin. I'm going to try to take my brush closest to the actual outer ring to get the majority of the color. And I'm going to use a BK Beauty Angie Hot and Flashy A507 brush for this. And I'm going to pat on the high points of my cheek first to get the color placed where I want it. And then I'm going to come back and blend. But do you see how pretty this shade is? And it's just a very universally flattering type of shade, which is why the Pillow Talk range is like a world of its own. And people love it because it just works for a lot of skin tones. And then I always come back in with my damp beauty sponge to help soften, because I can go a little crazy with my blush because more is more when it comes to blush, right? I just love it. So highlighter, of course, I got to use my Charlotte Tilbury. This is the Glow Glide highlighter in Champagne Glow. This actually won for Best Highlighter of 2023. This came out last year and I have loved it ever since I got it in the mail. I could not wait to order this when I saw that it was available for purchase. I jumped on it immediately and I don't regret it because it's stunning. It's absolutely beautiful. And you can't go wrong with highlighter because Charlotte Tilbury does highlight very, very well. And we all know about the contour wands, the beauty wands. I have them all. I love them all. But I just keep coming back to this powder formula. So I'm going to use this one today. Just with a big fluffy brush. And I'm going to highlight the tops of my cheekbone, the temple area, down the bridge of the nose, the tip of the nose, and a little bit through the brow bone, but I'm going to do a little bit more highlighting there after I do my eyeshadow look. I cannot do this video without featuring a look using my I Need a Nude palette from Natasha Denona. This was, to me, in my opinion, the palette of the year, and I absolutely adore this palette. Everything about it is perfection, and I'm going to use it today to do an eye look for you. Off camera, I went ahead and applied my MAC Painterly Paint Pot. That's what I use as eyeshadow primer every time I do my eyeshadow look. And then I did take some of that Huda Beauty setting powder to set it because it is a cream type of shadow that has a matte finish, but it has a skin tone shade. So it helps sort of disguise and tone down the look of discoloration and a little bit of that veininess because I am pretty fair. You do see all of that, especially around the eye area. So I always use that and then I set it with a little bit of powder. But to ensure that I am not going to have any creasing or any skipping when it comes to blending, although that doesn't really happen with the Natasha Denona formula, I think it's just kind of a step that I do out of habit. So I'm going to take the shade Fair, which is closest to my skin tone in this palette, and I'm going to use a Angie Hot and Flashy A501 brush and apply that right over everything from inner corner to outer corner and all the way up to just about the brow bone area. You do have quite a bit of cool tones, and I generally start by mapping out my crease and creating some dimension to my eye with a big crease brush, and the one that I'm going to use today is the A503 from BK Beauty in Angie Hot and Flashy with the shade called Tender, which is in the bottom row of this palette if you have it. If you don't, it is a cool tone matte gray color. You could also use Stone if you wanted something just a little bit lighter. It's a few shades lighter. It's the top row, first shade, but I'm going to go in with Tender. And I'm going to tap off the excess and I'm going to start just mapping out my natural crease area. And I'm looking straight ahead into a mirror to make sure that I follow the shape of my eye. And the great thing about the Natasha Denona formula, if you're not familiar, there is very minimal to no fallout. They're easy to work with and blend. They never skip, drag, they don't fade. They last beautifully for the entire day. And it doesn't take a lot of work. They're just easy to do. Whether you have a few minutes to get ready or you dedicate half an hour to get your makeup done for the day, it doesn't matter. Anybody can get a good eye look every single time. That's what I feel like sets this brand apart for me. Not only does she give you a variety of finishes, textures, and just tones, but it's just the way everything comes together. I just love it. Love everything about it. Another BK Beauty brush that I love to use for eye looks is the 212. It's another crease brush. It's a little bit wider than the first one that I used. And I like to just wipe off any sort of remaining product from the day before because I used this brush yesterday for my eye look. And I'm just gonna go around the edge of that Tender shade. So I'm gonna go in with the same brush right next door to Tender. I'm gonna use a shade called Mesh. This one is a little bit lighter. This one has a touch more of a kind of rose undertone, but it's still kind of a cool tone shade. Here, this one, Tender, that I use first is a lot more gray and deeper. So this one here is going to be a perfect shade to help to blend with that same brush. And I'm just going to go around very lightly around the border of that Tender color. One of the things that I find myself doing almost every time I use this palette is incorporating one of the peachy tones. So you have two in this palette. And one is a little bit lighter and brighter, and one is a little bit deeper and smoky, like a deep salmon type of shade. Still really pretty. You can go either way, or you can skip this step if you don't want any warmth to it and keep it completely cool tone. But I am going to go in with the shade called Wit, which is in the bottom of this palette, and it is the brighter of the two peachy tones. And I'm going to add a little bit of this right into my crease, kind of right on top of that tender shade. I'm moving on to my lower lash line, and for this I'm going to switch to a different style brush. I love using my MAC 219, which is a pencil style brush, to apply the color and keep it really concentrated at the base of my lower lash line. So I'm going to go in the same order, starting off with tender. Then I'm going to blend out with the mesh, and then a little bit of warmth with wit. With that first brush that I used for the fair color to set my primer, I'm going to take the same fair shade, and that was the A501 from BK Beauty Angie Hot and Flashy, and I'm going to use that shade to help clean up if I got it a little too low, and it's going to kind of erase any little mistake that I may have had. I will also take that fair shade and go into the inner corner a little bit. I'm going to add a little bit of my face highlighter in the inner corner in a little while, but just to kind of clean up if I got that deeper gray tone too close to the inner tear duct, it helps kind of, again, erase any of those little mistakes. Now for the lid, this is where the magic happens. You have so many options that you could do with this palette. It's completely endless what you can do as far as lid shades. You can do a full matte look if you prefer that as well. But I just love a good bronze eyeshadow. It's one of my very favorite colors to use. It's the color that I always gravitate towards when I'm doing one shadow looks, when I'm getting ready in a pinch. It's the color that I feel like looks the prettiest, especially with a little bit of that cool kind of tone in the crease, a little bit of that warmth from the peach. I just love the way bronze and peachy tones kind of go together. So I typically use the shade called Filigree, which is a little bit smoky, and that is in the second row. That's the last shadow, and that is very, very rich. Like, incredible. Look at that. Gorgeous. But I also really love the shade called Delilah. I mean, I love them all, okay? Delilah is a little bit different than Filigree or even Travertine because it's a little bit cooler. But the cool tone of it is really pretty and it adds a little bit of a gray element, but there is a bit of sparkle. And it's a soft, sophisticated sparkle that's kind of silvery, and it's very interesting, and I love how it plays well with some of the warmer tones. So I'm going to show you that because she's stunning, okay? Stunning. You have to try this palette. And for the shade, I like to just use my finger. I keep it simple, keep it easy, and I'm just going to pat first to apply and deposit the color from my finger onto my lid. Do you see that? Wow. There's that silver kind of sparkle when the light hits it, when the sun reflects off the eye. It's just out of this world. Do the same thing on the other eye. I'm going to go in with a little bit more of that mesh shade and use that 212 brush that I used earlier, this is the shade here. And I'm going to go a little bit above the crease to create a bit more of a blend. But I have to be really careful with this step because I don't want to pull too much of the glitter from Delilah too far up into the upper crease area. I like to keep my glitters on my lid and right where it meets up to the crease, so there's not a gap between the glitter shade and any of the crease work that I've done. So I'm going to take a little bit of that mesh shade and I'm going to go right here, kind of right onto my bone for the brow bone area, and just lightly add a little bit more smokiness, and using the very tip of my brush to create a very wispy, soft kind of blend to nothingness towards my brow bone. Going back in with my face highlighter from Charlotte Tilbury, the Champagne Glow, and I'm going to use that as my brow bone highlight and inner corner highlight. The final step for this look is to do some eyeliner and mascara. I love using a good brown eyeliner with these tones in the I Need a Nude. I feel like it gives me the impact and the definition that liner provides the eyes, but it's a little softer than using black. So I'm going to use my Epic Ink Liner from NYX. This is the brown shade. I love this eyeliner. It is some of the best that I've tried. It's also waterproof. And I'm going to use my L'Oreal Telescopic Mascara to complete this entire eye look. Liner mascara is done. So while my mascara dries, I'm going to move on to my lip product. And I'm all about a good pink lip color. It's one of my favorite colors. Obviously, pink headband, pink shirt. I love pink. If I could only choose one tone of lip color, it would be a pink color. So I'm going to start with my favorite lip liner, my Lips But Better type of shade. The ideal color for me to use every single day, and that's my Lip Cheat from Charlotte Tilbury in Pillow Talk. Look how small mine is getting, but don't you worry, I've got a full size ready to go because I will not be without this pencil. I've gone through a couple of these over the years. I just love it. So on my lips, I do have a little bit of lip balm. It is a pink lip balm from the Naturium brand. This is the shade Hibiscus. I love the formula. I have several of these. I bought some more over the holidays last year and I love them. They're perfect. They're the best dupe to the Summer Fridays lip balm. So that Hibiscus shade gives me a subtle kind of wash of pink across the lips, but I'm not going to take it off because it's going to go well with the next product. So I'm going to start with the lip liner. And here's just the lip liner with a little bit of the residual lip balm that's kind of worn off as I've been filming. I'm going to go in with another Charlotte Tilbury lip product. This is my favorite matte formula. I'm a gloss girl, and so we're going to do a glossy lip. But I did want to show this to you in case you haven't seen me previously talk about this in another video. The Airbrush Lip Blurs. These are just stunning. The Pillow Talk Blur is the only one that I own, and I'm kind of kicking myself that I didn't order the rest of the shades when these launched last year. The formula is a beautiful, moussey, creamy consistency. It is matte, but it's a comfortable matte. I don't like matte lips. It's never been my thing, but I will have to say that this lip blur formula from Charlotte Tilbury is the best sort of liquid style matte lip that's kind of like a moussey, creamy texture. Her Matte Revolution lipsticks are very comfortable to wear even though they are a matte formula. They're really, really easy to use, and those would be the ones that I would recommend if you're looking for a good matte lipstick. But this is like a liquid lipstick formula, and I love the applicator. It's almost like a diamond shape. The point is perfect for getting right around the edge of the lip line. So we're gonna do a glossy lip, and I'm gonna show you what this looks like just over some leftover lip balm and lip liner. Oh, it's so comfortable. And it smells so good. It's like vanilla cake batter. That sounds good, right? Some vanilla cake. You can get really close to the edge with this applicator. It's perfect. And besides this formula being so incredibly comfortable and just luxurious feeling, it's how it goes over my lips. My lips generally are extremely dry. They're full of lines, and I love a good glossy lip because it disguises that. But even if I did this just with the lip liner or no lip liner and my bare lips with no lip balm, no treatments on or anything, this just sits so nicely over the dryness of my lips. And that is like a big shock to me. And that's why I keep using this, because it's just perfection. So this is absolutely stunning, and it's the perfect pink shade to go with this look. And that's another good thing about this. I Need a Nude palette from Natasha Denona that you can really do any lip combo. I can pair this look with a red lip if I wanted to go out for an evening. Date night, I can do something a little bit more warm. I can do something even more cool tone than what I'm wearing right now. And it goes with everything. It's a no-brainer. Love this formula so, so much. But as I mentioned, I am a gloss girl. I love the Tarte Maracuja Juicy Lip Balms. They are some of my very favorites. I bought several shades recently, and one of the newest additions to that line is the Shimmer Glass. So the one that I have is Rosy Mauve, and I thought this was going to be quite dark, but it isn't as dark as it looks. This is definitely a rosy kind of mauve with a purple kind of tone to it. But I love the creaminess, how thick and buttery these feel. That's why I love the Maracuja Juicy Lips. And there's a subtle kind of cooling sensation that comes from these. It's not painful, it's not burning, it doesn't sting. It's just a bit of like a minty kind of refreshing feel. I'm gonna go just lightly right over the top. And here is the lip look for today with the Juicy Lip Plump. Gorgeous, right? Look how juicy and full the lips look. I just adore it, and I can feel a little bit of a cooling sensation on my lips. It feels very pleasant. I like that feeling, and I don't mind it at all. But this color, just stop, right? The last and final thing is the Airbrush Brightening Powder. This is a final finishing step for me. I've hit pan on this because I use it every single day, and I absolutely love how this sort of brightens and perfects the under eye and where I have larger pores. So I'm going to show you. I take the Real Techniques. This is a setting brush actually. I'm going to dip into this product and I'm going to use this just lightly sweeping, and I use this under the eyes to remove any fallout if I have any. I don't today because the Natasha Denona doesn't have fallout. Then I will take the powder and go right through here and sort of blur where I have larger pores, through the chin, center of the forehead. And it's a very finely milled powder. It doesn't look heavy, doesn't feel heavy, feels like there's nothing on my face. Nothing at all. There is a little bit of a sheen to this. It's not completely flat and matte, but it adds to that pretty glow. And do you see how this side looks a little bit more perfected? The kind of dewiness is just toned down just ever so slightly without completely mattifying the skin. You see a difference? I hope the camera picks up that difference because I love it. As you can tell, I hit pan. I do this every day. And one of the great things about this powder is that if I go too low with my blush, I can always erase it. So speaking of blush, let's go ahead and add just a pinch more because why not? This is sitting on my vanity. This is the Armani Luminous Silk Blush in shade 51. Amore, I believe is what it's called. I'm going to go in with that same brush from earlier, pick up just a little bit of that, and just tap. This is one of my favorites. One of my favorite discoveries from last year, and I mentioned it in my Best in Beauty video for the complexion category because this formula is incredible. And that, my friends, is the completed look. What do you think? I love this look. I just love everything about it. The complexion is dewy and radiant, but not oily. It's just right. The eyes, I can't complain about the eyes. I wouldn't change a thing. Honestly, that palette is perfection. This lip combination, get out of here. It's so beautiful, so me, and I just absolutely love it. And it makes me feel great. It makes me happier. It just brightens up my day just a little bit more. And that's really what I love about makeup, is the fact that it just lifts my spirits, it boosts my self-esteem. It's just something so beautiful, and I am just so thrilled to be able to share that with you. I hope you enjoyed the look. Everything is going to be listed and linked for you down below in case you want to shop any of these products. Thank you so much for being here, for watching, taking the time of your busy schedule to spend some of it with me. It means more than you'll ever know. You can also subscribe for more videos like this in the future, and you can follow me on Instagram. We can be friends there. I hope to connect with you there. Take care, you guys, and I will catch you in my next video. Bye-bye.